This is Pastor Ken Davis with Calvary Chapel, Southwest Metro, located in Joshua, Texas, welcoming you to another edition of our 2-year Bible Challenge. Thanks for joining us today as we kick off week number 11 of our challenge. Let's take a quick look at this week's reading assignments. So this week, we will be finishing off the book of Leviticus, chapters 26 and 27, which will talk about the blessings of obeying God and the importance of keeping vows and paying our tithes. Then in Psalms, chapter 72 through 78, we will read about the Messiah's reign, about trusting in God. We'll find a cry for God's aid and an acknowledgement that promotion comes from God. We'll actually take a closer look at that one today. We're going to read about how God is a mighty judge, and we're going to see the psalmist remember the things that God has done. They're also going to revisit their journey through the wilderness, including Israel's rebellion, and a reflection upon God's kindness to them. Some wonderful, wonderful journeys that we're going to be going on through the Psalms this week. We're also going to be starting the book of Numbers, and so let me give you a quick introduction to this book. The book of Numbers is called Numbers because in it the children of Israel are numbered, once at the beginning and a second time some 40 years later at the end of their wilderness wanderings. Here we have the story of a terrible delay that is brought about by disobedience and a lack of faith. We'll also say goodbye to Moses by the time this book is over, and Joshua will become the leader of the children of Israel. Of those who were included in the first census, only 2 of them would actually enter into the promised land, and those 2 were Joshua and Caleb, and their story is outlined in the book of Numbers. Now, for this first week, we'll be reading Numbers chapters 1 through 6, which will highlight the first census. It'll talk about the layout of the camp. It'll give us information about the Levites and the Levite families. There will be instructions for keeping the camp pure, and there will be details regarding the Nazirite vow. Later on in the book of Judges, we're going to meet someone who actually took that Nazirite vow, a man by the name of Samson. That's an incredible story, which we will look into more when we get to the book of Judges. But these are the things we'll be reading about in these first 6 chapters of the book of Numbers. At this time, I'd like to ask you to join me for a quick devotional in the book of Psalms. Today we're going to be reading Psalms 75. I'll be reading in the New King James Version of the Bible to the chief musician. This will be actually in the blueletterbible.org where we're reading. I'm just going to click on this link and it'll take us right there. So let's just take a look together at this wonderful psalm, Psalm chapter 75. To the chief musician set to Do Not Destroy. This one is a psalm of Asaph, a song. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks, for your wondrous works declare that your name is near. When I choose the proper time, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all its inhabitants are dissolved. I set up its pillars firmly. I said to the boastful, do not deal boastfully, and to the wicked, do not lift up the horn. Do not lift up your horn on high. Do not speak with a stiff neck. For exaltation comes neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He puts down one and exalts another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is fully mixed, and he pours it out. Surely its dregs shall all the wicked of the earth drain and drink down. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked I will also cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. Amen. Well, you see a lot of mentions of horns in this, and the horn is a symbol of power and of strength. And so when he says, do not lift up your horn on high and do not speak with a stiff neck, essentially what he's saying is don't get to be too full of yourself. Don't think too much of your own power, strength, or ability. Because the reality is, the psalmist tells us here that exaltation or promotion, if you will, comes neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He puts down one and he exalts another. In other words, we shouldn't expect acknowledgments and recognition for the things that we have done to come from other people. But we are to recognize that the recognition that we should truly seek comes from God. And we don't need to promote ourselves. God is the one who will promote us. He is the one that will lift us up. And our confidence is not in our own horn, if you will, or in our own power, but in His. Amen? Let's take a closer look at some of our Bible study questions here. Of course, we want to ask the question, is there a truth here to believe? And in Psalm 75, we do find a truth that we want to believe, and that is that God is the one who judges. He puts one down and He exalts another. Promotion comes from Him. Amen? That is a truth, and we can lay hold of that truth. Is there a promise here to receive? Well, yes. One of them is that the horns of the wicked will be cut off. Sometimes it looks like evil people are prospering and that their power is being successful and that they are being promoted, but ultimately they are going to be cut off. God is going to bring judgment. The horns of the wicked will be cut off, and the horn of the righteous, which ultimately is God, will be lifted up. And so we know that God has promised that, and we can trust in that and have confidence in Him for that. Is there a command here to obey? Well, the command is actually a prohibition. It's something that we are not to do, right? Do not boast. That's a command. Don't do that. Do not be prideful. The Bible tells us that God resists the proud, but that He gives grace to the humble. And so we want to be among those who are counted as humble. Being boastful, being prideful, it's a recipe for destruction. And we are commanded not to do that. Is there an example to either follow or avoid? Well, the example here is one to avoid. Don't be like the wicked who boast and exalt themselves, but instead follow the example of the speaker in this passage and give thanks to God. Some have suggested, and I tend to agree with it, that the speaker here is a portrayal of the Messiah, and because He is the one who rules and He is the one who reigns. And if you look at the passage, it's saying, I will this and I will that. And so the one who is speaking here, I believe, is the Lord, and He is the one who is exalted, and He is the one who's telling us, hey, don't boast, don't be prideful, don't be like the wicked who exalt themselves, but instead let's follow His example and give thanks to God. Amen? All right, so is there something here that I can apply to my life? How can I apply what I have learned to my life? Not just in general, but specifically today. Well, first of all, I won't look for or expect recognition or promotion from human beings, from other people. But I'm going to entrust myself to the Lord, and I'm going to trust that God is going to be my rewarder and that He is going to be the one who lifts me up. Amen? And so, excuse me. And so I can have that confidence, and I can have that attitude and that perspective that says, I don't need the admiration of people. I don't need the recognition of people, whether it's a family member or a parent or a boss, right? Or the world or my peers or my Facebook friends or whoever, right? I'm not looking for the affirmation that I need to come from them. I'm not looking for that recognition or promotion to come from them. I'm looking to God for those things. That's how I can apply that to my life today, because He's the one who rewards me. He's the one who lifts me up. Amen. Amen. Well, thank you for joining us today for this installation, for this installment of the 2-Year Bible Challenge. I hope that maybe one day you can join us in person at 307B East 12th Street in Joshua, Texas, for our Tuesday night Bible study at 7 p.m. If you can't join us in person, though, check in with our YouTube channel to watch the devotion for this week's reading assignment. That should be posted on Wednesday morning or late Tuesday night, one of the two. And you can follow along with our devotion, which will come from the Old Testament readings in the book of Numbers or possibly Leviticus. I don't know yet. So join us then, Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, for that installment. And in the meantime, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance to you and give you peace. And hey, friends, let me just encourage you to keep reading.